Good morning. My name is Scott Lee. I'm alcoholic. I got a bad case of it, and I appreciate the opportunity to trade it with you fine folks this morning. And Jill, thank you for inviting me. It's a big deal for an alcoholic to be invited back anywhere. Uh, Thank you, those who have your cameras on. It's very hard to talk to a black screen. So those who can leave your cameras on, I appreciate it very much. I like to see your reactions. It helps me a lot. Uh, Lois Wilson said in the moment of silence that she invited God to the meeting. In a few moments, I'm going to ask you to do that. But there may be somebody here who doesn't have a God. You got here like I did, terrified that there might be one, but because some religious people have tried to scare you into heaven. And that's kind of how I got here. So if that's your situation, allow me to recommend that you borrow my God. I recommend him very highly. He's got a great sense of humor. And you can address him as the God of Scott's limited understanding. I get you off on the right foot. And I'll meet you back here. Let's invite God to the meeting. Amen. Thank you. I should tell you, I have a central nervous system disorder that causes my hands to shake, and I have an involuntary negative head shake. I don't know that it's happening. So it may look like I disagree with what I'm saying. I don't. I may later because I'm still learning, but don't trust the head shakes, okay? Because that happens to me quite often. And I'm also not an expert. I'm here as a satisfied customer. And I have so many things. I've only got 30 minutes and I have so many things I want to share with you. I think I'll start by sharing with you the new things in the big book, the changes that were made just over the course of the last 2 months. On page 13, those of you who brought your books to class can try to keep up with me. There were two major changes on page 13. I swear this wasn't here. If it had been here, I'd have seen it before. They just added this. I was afraid to touch it. I might smear the ink. The 11th line ends with a single word, friend, capital F, and it's a reference to God. And I think it's a powerful, powerful piece of information. Because if you get here with a God you're afraid of, you can't do step 3. I cannot make a decision to turn my will and life over to a God that's already sending me to hell and I got no hope at all. And he's angry with me. So that word meant a lot to me. Another word they changed, I swear it wasn't here, in the last paragraph. My friend promised when these things were done, I would enter upon a new relationship with my creator. New implies that I had one when I got here. And I would have said I didn't, and I would have been wrong. I had a relationship with God before I got here. It had a name. It's called 911. See if you recognize any of these pre-AA prayers. God, please help me pass this test I didn't study for. Please don't let her be pregnant. I'm told that one can be prayed in the first person. Please don't let those flashing red and blue lights be for me. Another very popular pre-AA prayer. Or my favorite, the one I prayed the most often, was somewhere usually between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the bathroom kneeling on the prayer rug. That's that little half moon of carpet running around the commode. I'm in there kneeling on the prayer rug. And we're at the point of proceedings where there's nothing coming out but noise and occasional tear. Remember that part? And Candace, I know you do. I can see you're all lit up with this. Yeah. So I want you to pray the prayer with me, okay? This is the main pre-AA prayer. Trust yourself. You know the prayer. I'm going to do the first line. You do the second. Are you ready? God, get me out of this, and I'll never do it again. You got it, darling. Yes. Okay. If you're new, which is alcoholic for amen. I always ended with that. If you're new and you're not really sure you need to be here, I have a 1-question test for you. Did you know the prayer? The earthlings don't know the prayer. They don't know it. Welcome. You're in the right place. Now, I'll admit, these are the people your mother warned you about. Okay, that's who we are. But we're doing much better today. Something else new on page 38, and I can't tell you how proud I am of you, for we have raised the bar. Page 38, about 8 or 9 lines from the bottom. However intelligent we may have been in other respects where alcohol has been involved, we have been strangely insane. Strangely insane. That would be different from normally insane, average insane, or typically insane. We have been strangely insane. We have raised the bar on insanity. Is that not fabulous? I'm so proud of us. My sponsor was a little bit of a stick in the mud. I'm doing for you what we call a page 112 meeting. If you don't happen to know the first 3 words on page 112 or read this book, and I'm a member of the page 112 group in Old Hickory, Tennessee, and that's where we got the name. So my sponsor was such a hard ankle that he had me not only read black part, but he had me read all of the black part. When you read all of the black part, it changes a lot of this. Page 77 in the reading on steps 8 and 9, the book kind of runs them together. Third line. Our real purpose is to fit ourselves to be a maximum service to God and the people about us. So clearly and obviously, my real purpose is not to be a maximum service to God and the people about me. I have no idea how to do that. I wouldn't know how which way to turn out of the driveway. It says to fit myself to be a maximum service. Interesting. And the directions how to do that cover also page 85, where once again I was required to read all of the black part. This is in the reading on step 10. It's easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest our Lord. So it's easy to let up, but must require effort to not let up. Headed for trouble, we do alcohol, a soul foe, we're not cured. We have a daily reprieve. I look up reprieve. It's a stay of execution or a delay of punishment. Daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. So my reprieve is clearly not contingent on my spiritual condition, and I don't have the faintest notion what my spiritual condition is, and I'm not qualified to judge it. Spiritual condition is not something I do, it's something I receive. It's like growth. I don't do growth, I receive growth. It's contingent on the maintenance of my spiritual condition. And I'm a good judge of that, and I better be, because that's what the evening half of step 11 is about. It's for me to see what kind of job I do on the maintenance of my spiritual condition today. That's what that's all about. Maintenance for me means two things. It means to maintain in the sense of not losing something I've already got. It also means I must maintenance my spiritual condition in the same sense that I maintenance my vehicle. I rotate the tires. I got the oil changed on time. I wash it, I vacuum it out. I maintenance my spiritual condition. Same thing for fit myself to be maximum service. Daily prayer and meditation. I read spiritual literature. I attend meetings. I have a sponsor. He knows he's my sponsor. I sponsor some guys. I take meetings into gated communities. Those are jails and treatment centers. I let people in traffic. I say please and thank you. I clean up my own mess. I do the things you have taught me to maintenance my spiritual condition. There was a moment this morning when I was asleep, but the very next moment I was awake. When I stepped out of the bathroom, I was more awake. When I finished my first cup of coffee, I was more awake. When I finished my prayer and meditation, I was more awake. Spiritual awakening is of that nature. And there is no last lesson. Actually, there is. It has a name. People are afraid of the name. The name is death. I hope I talk about that here in a few minutes. But this is about getting awake spiritually. But it's about staying awake spiritually. I can go back to sleep spiritually. Yeah, I'm not going to let that turkey in traffic. He should have gotten in earlier. And everybody lies occasionally. It's just a little white lie. And everybody cheats on their taxes. And I don't need to bother my sponsor with that. And I can go back to sleep spiritually. So these daily spiritual things I do are designed to keep me awake spiritually so I can continue to grow. I think one day at a time is the hardest assignment I've ever been given. Far and away the most difficult. Because now when I was new, it meant to me, don't drink today. And it absolutely means that. It also means live only in this day. It means from my mind be here where my feet are. My mind could learn a lot from my feet. My feet never go into the past and they never go into the future. My mind does. My mind goes into the past, reliving victories, some of which may have actually happened. Or it races off into the future trying to figure it all out. Plan B and plan C. And what if this, what if they find? And I'm rarely between the claps, right here, right now. And yet right here, right now is where you guys are. You magnificent people I get to recover with. And the God of my understanding. There's one who has on power that one is God, me find him now. That was when I find God, it's where. My God is the God of right here, right now. God is right here, right now. So when I go to the past or the future, I'm going to neighborhoods where God isn't. Those are bad neighborhoods by definition. I have no business in them. No business in them. So I have to commit effort daily to staying in today. I believe all the good questions contain the word today, and all the good answers contain the word today. The question isn't, what am I doing about my finances? That's a terrible question. The question is, what am I doing about my finances today? What am I doing about my relationship? No. What do you do about it today? Feel the difference? Massive difference. Got to quit trying to fix the rest of my life. So to help me with that, I have three vocabularies: speaking, praying, and thinking. And I must use the word today frequently in all three of those so that the magic can happen for me, so I can be here with you. My fears are all in the future, all in the future. So to help me with that, I have written the word today on some 3x5 cards. Here's one over my shoulder on my office. I'm going to take you for a short tour. This is the front of my desk, where that's the word today in 4 different languages. Here it is on my office door. Here we are in the throne room. Directly across from the throne, we have the word today. And I say it out loud a lot. I have also invited the men I sponsor and my closest friends, when they hear me talking, if they don't hear the word today, to use it frequently and to remind me that I need to use it frequently. I need to be here, right now. I can't afford to not be here. I just can't afford it. And this is such a magnificent way to live and such a magnificent place to live, right here, right now. I can see about half of you, so I'm going to ask you a quick question. Let's ignore the future and the past and just right this very moment, right this second. If you're okay right now, nod for me like this. Nod if you're okay right now. Great, thanks. How about now? How about now? Yeah, to get right here, right now is where the magic is. I was in one of the gated communities. This one was a state prison. And we were doing a page 112. I would get to lead about 4 or 5 men's retreats every year. I always open with a page 112 meeting. And this is how it goes. You got 3 minutes. Give us your name, give us a page number, give us a minute to get to that page. Read us a paragraph or less from one place and tell us why you read it. And it could be because you don't like it or you don't believe it, doesn't matter why. Pick one out, tell us why you read it. We skip all over the book. And 2 things happen. One is the old timers get to show off how much they know about the book, and the newcomers get excited about the book. It's a double win. So I was doing this in the state prison a few years ago, where they had books. And I'm telling you, if you're taking meetings into a state prison, they got books. Do this page 112 meeting. This is what they gave me, page 456 at the very bottom. AA has accomplished so many things in my life today, giving me my sanity and all-around sense of balance. Now, when they listen, take suggestions I found. Process discovering who I really am begins with knowing who I really don't want to be. It's what the first 5 steps are about. It's finding out who I don't want to be. Don't blurt anything out, and I'm never going to ask you. Bring to mind the 2 worst things you ever did. Okay, that's not who you are. Because if that's who you are, you wouldn't think of them as worse things, and you'd still be out there doing them. The fact that you think of them as worse things is the clearest of all possible indications that that's not who you are. And what I was told is here they would teach me how to quit doing who I'm not, how to repair the damage for having done who I'm not, and who I really am will emerge from the ashes like the phoenix. That's not poetry. That's what we do every day here. That's what recovery is all about. It's about, if I could define recovery, it's about evolving into who I've always really been. I believed all my life that I wasn't good enough. And there were just all kinds of things wrong with me that couldn't be fixed or worked on. And I was an actor all my life, pretending to be the guy I think you want me to be. And I'm a different guy to everybody. Right? I've got hundreds of personalities I haven't even used yet. If I'm awake, I'm on red alert trying to hold the right mask to keep you from seeing the real me. Because if you can see me like I see me, you'll think about me like I think about me, and I think I'm garbage, and you would throw me away. And it takes a tremendous amount of energy to act all the time. I don't know how much longer I could have done it. I think alcohol saved me and some other things. I'm actually what they call try addicted. I'm addicted to everything I tried. And and so I'm all the time trying to get out of right here, right now. And what happened through this process is, number one, I was just wrong. The single biggest important truth in my life was a lie, and that's that I'm not good enough. That the God of love who invented smallmouth bass, vanilla ice cream, and sex, good job, thank you, that guy I thought was having a bad day when he created me. How stupid is that? He was not. He was not. So I was sitting by a stream some time back, just sitting, and I looked at a cloud and I thought, every drop of rain in that cloud's following God's will perfectly. There's no doubt about it. So's that tree, so's the bird in the tree, so are the minnows in the stream. Why can't Scott? If they can follow God's will perfectly, why can't I? It was on me hard. I got my answer. And the answer is, I am. I do not believe God put me here to be perfect. It's not my assignment. If you think you're supposed to be perfect, I wish you good luck. You're going to need a lot of it. But if it's not my job to be perfect, what's my job? My job's to make mistakes. They've sent the right guy. I have a definition of mistake. It's an invitation to a lesson. The evidence is, if I learned the lesson, would not have made the mistake. That's all it is, just an invitation to a lesson. And I don't have the power to make a mistake so ugly that he can't turn it into wonderful. That's who he is. That's who I am. I frequently watch him use the worst thing I ever did as a tool to help somebody else. It's happened for me probably over 1,000 times since I've been sober. Yeah. So back to this idea of mistakes, an invitation to a lesson. So here's the learning process as I understand it today for me. Item 1, make a mistake. Item 2, find out I made a mistake. Sometimes you have to tell me. I don't always know. 3, own the mistake. Oh, yeah, I did that. If they only know 80%, I got to tell them the other 20. That's how I own it. 4, consult a spiritual advisor about how to 5, make the amend. Usually, not always, usually there's an amendment made. 6, embrace the lesson. The lesson comes with the making of the amend, not with the making a mistake. All my life, they say, well, we're going to learn from our mistakes. Well, it ain't so. If that's true, I'm not looking at anybody that's been arrested more than once. Good luck. No. We do not learn from our mistakes. We learn from living with the results of our mistakes. That's where the learning occurs. That's why step 9 is the freedom step. 7, share the lesson. That's what really sets it. 8, when I share the lesson, I have to tell you I made a mistake. If I just share the lesson, I'm preaching and nobody wants to hear it. 9, make the next mistake. I have no idea what God's plan is. I know his will is for me to screw up. That's why I'm here. It's my mission. There's a phenomenal freedom in that. I have my own permission to make mistakes. I'm convinced that's why I'm here. But it's only half the freedom. The other half is you guys have my permission to make mistakes. That includes all my sponsees, all my family members, major political figures all over the world, my husband-in-law. That's the guy that's married to my first wife. It's a husband-in-law. I'm from Tennessee. Those of you who got your driver's licenses out of Cheerios boxes, everybody has my permission to make mistakes. Because if I'm going to be upset with what you do, I'm going to be a prisoner of your actions. And I don't want to be a prisoner anymore. I was a prisoner for a long time. At 41 years sober, it's pretty easy for me in the morning to turn him my will in my life. And it's easy to offer in the day. The hard part is to offer in the moments. This was presented to me at the first time about 39 years ago. I'm driving down the main drag in Nashville, and I stop at my 5th traffic light in a row, and I'm sitting there steaming, thinking evil thoughts about the traffic light's mother, when it occurs to me that it's at least possible that God's using those traffic lights to keep me from having a wreck with a gasoline truck. It changed me. It's been a long time coming back, but about 2.5 years ago, I became focused on that. I called, let me give you a definition. Good day, my will's being done. Bad day, my will's not being done. That can be brought down to the moment. So when I'm having a bad moment, in other words, God's will's not being done, instead of sitting there fuming, I've been using it as a reminder to check in and say, well, as you wish. I have had, just in the last month, begun to have some success with that, to try to stay checked in with him all the time. His timing is perfect. I'm 82 years old, and I have a young girlfriend. She's 78. And my home group meets on Wednesday nights at 6. It's 3 blocks away. I want to leave the house at 5:29. I want to be there 30 minutes early. She says, I want to go look at a house in the neighborhood. I'm thinking about buying one. I say, okay, great. We'll leave early. She says, fine. Well, she says fine, but she doesn't actually have the early departure setting. She doesn't have that setting. So we're driving, and I'm sure that house is somewhere on the North American continent, and we are going to find it tonight or certainly by tomorrow. We finally find the place and realize immediately it won't work. And then she turns to me and says, can we stop by the dollar store? I want to get one item. Part of my morning prayer is that I might be the man she deserves today. I might cherish her and treasure her, be an open channel for God into her life, and her an open channel for God into my life. And when she said that, what flashed was, what would a man who treasured this woman say to that? And the answer is, sure, we'll stop. So we stop at the dollar store for her to get one item. And I'm praying while she's inside because I'm going to need these prayers because I am not committed to celibacy. So I'm going to need these prayers so that I don't get myself in trouble when she comes out of there. And she's gone, I think, a very long time. And when she gets in the car, and I don't know what that one item was. I know it came out in 2 bags. Anyway, when she gets in the car, she says, listen, I'm sorry it took so long, but there was a homeless guy in line in front of me. He couldn't afford everything he'd selected, and I bought some of his stuff for him. And I said, that's one of the reasons you're sitting here next to me. We pull up to my home group. We're still in time for the meeting. The meeting has not started. My home group is small. 30 is a big crowd for us. I know everybody. There's a guy I don't recognize walking up the steps when I pull up. I open her door. I get my big book out of the back. As we start in the church, that guy I don't recognize is coming out. And I stop him, introduce myself. He's a newcomer. And he couldn't get all the way into the meeting. He couldn't do it. And I was able to take him in, introduce him around. There's a pretty good chance I gave him a temporary sponsor. I am bad to do that. I'm not taking credit for that. What I'm saying is, do you see it? Do you see it? God's timing is dead, solid, perfect. What did he have? A 15-second window, 20 seconds to hit perfect so that a guy with 41 years is there when a guy with less than 41 days can't get into the meeting. His timing is perfect. And I can't remember that all the way to the driveway most mornings. I have to be constantly reminded. I heard Sandy Beach say, I don't need to be so much instructed as to be reminded. I so badly need to be reminded because this is why I'm here. Part of my morning prayer is that I do not miss any opportunities to be of service or spread love and joy today. We've had over 30,000 people here moving to my city for the last decade. We got traffic jams now. We never had them before. And my history is to sit in a traffic jam and just fume. Not anymore. Now I wear this very stylish vest, not for the style, because I need the pockets. I'm an old man. I need pockets. And I reach into my pocket and I pull out a clown nose and I put it on. And I reach a little bit deeper. I drop my window and I pull out this jar of bubbles about the size of my traffic finger. And I start blowing bubbles out the window to get the other driver's attention. They look and see the clown nose. They laugh. I laugh. Laughter's contagious. We're still stuck in traffic. I've turned it into a party. If we stay stuck, if there's a wreck, I put it in park and shut it down. I'm passing out. I got multiple clown noses and bubbles in my car right now. I carry them. I'm walking through an airport or a grocery store, and there's a mom there with a couple of kids. I'm telling you right now, those are good kids. They're just having a hard day. I get 8 or 10 feet away from them, and I put on the nose, and I blow one stream of bubbles, and the crying stops right this second. Kids will lock onto bubbles like a good bird dog coming on point. And I walk up to the mom. I say, look, I'm a stranger. I don't want to give your children anything, but if the kids can have the noses and bubbles, I'd like to give them to you. In the last 2.5, 3 years, only one lady has said no once. What happens when you do something like that? What happens? What happens is those kids have their day lived. And so does mom. And so does everyone who saw it. Who else? Me. If I'm sloshing love and joy all over you, it splatters onto me every time. There's no way to block it. It can't be done. It can't be done. When I check out at the grocery store, I take my change. I check out by myself. I take the paper change, but I leave the jingle. I leave the coins. 60 cents laying there. I'm not a wealthy man. I can part with 60 cents. And whoever comes through there next is going to find 60 cents. It's going to lift their day. Cost me 60 cents. And one of God's kids had their day lifted. I say the price about right on that, wouldn't you? A heads up penny. If you find one there, heads up, you take them. There's a lucky penny. I don't take them. In addition to which, if I see a tails penny, I bend down and turn it over. And I leave a lucky penny for somebody I will probably never meet. When my focus is, I was diagnosed with cancer in my throat in June of 20. They took my teeth immediately because they did so much radiation that killed my jawbone. It's still here, but it is dead. They had to take the teeth first. And they'd done so much radiation to my throat that's all scar tissue now. I'm on my epiglottis is buried in scar tissue. The opening is tiny. I can't even swallow a pill. I have to crush them. So I am on a liquid diet for the rest of my life, which is not a big deal. I came to you on a liquid diet. It's just a different liquid. But watching you eat is not my favorite thing to do. But when I was diagnosed with the cancer, I told the men I sponsor, I said, your first thought is wrong as usual. You're thinking Scott's got this life-threatening disease. He does not need my small problems. Well, you got that exactly wrong again. I need to get out of me, and there's no way to get out of me. But if I can get into you as a side effect, I'm out of me. I need your hangnails. You must let me sponsor you while I'm going through this difficult time. And people ask me, how did you get through it? Because I get through it pretty good. The first one is I have this deep and abiding belief that there's a loving God who wants what's best for me and knows what it is. And I'm his child and he loves me and I'm sitting in his lap. That's a good place to start. The second place is I stayed in today. I did not allow myself to say, oh, this chemo. I did 6 weeks of chemo and radiation. I was puking twice a day. I lost 60 pounds in 45 days. I did not let myself say, oh, this has been going on so long. It's more pain from the past. I don't know how much longer I can do that. Or pain from the future. I wore out the today word. And when I get down, I picked up the phone and called you and said, what's going on in your life? How can I lift your spirit? And when I lifted yours, I lifted mine. That's what works. That's what works. So that's what I do. I want to share this with you. A lady friend of mine sponsors a lady who was a prostitute. And when she got to step 8, she felt like she owed herself amends. Normally, we don't. This, for me, is an exception. And this is what they came up with. I'm sharing this because I want everyone to know this. She said what she did was she down and figured out how much money she made that way. And then she earned that much money legitimately and donated it to Magdalene House and some other charities. What she said was, I sold my self-esteem. I am buying it back. And she got absolutely free. She got absolutely free. And I think it is so critically important for us to be able to do that. There is a way. Don't doubt the power here. Do not doubt the power. My third sponsor's name was John, but he picked up the nickname Rusty at the end of his drinking. He was drinking mouthwash mixed with Kool-Aid, and he wet his pants so many times his zipper rusted shut. And we nicknamed him Rusty in honor of the zipper. And he loved his nickname, by the way. You're lucky in A if you get a nickname you like. And I give you 2 pieces of wisdom for Rusty. One is I'm not responsible for what I think. I'm responsible for how long I think it. I can't keep garbage from showing up here. When it gets dirty up here, I can sweep. That is my responsibility. Sandy Beach said it this way. He said, the measure of my recovery is not whether I get off the spiritual path. He wasn't talking about relapse. Get off the spiritual path. We all get off the spiritual path. The measure of my recovery is how quickly I get back on. Here's the other one from Rusty. In the history of this planet, no human has ever been put in an insane asylum for being insane. Never, not once. They put us in there for acting insane. Though it's been let out for being sane, they let us out for acting sane. So on those days when you're crazy, if you don't act on it, they won't know. Don't tell them they're not ready. Pick up the phone, tell one of us we're ready and we are not all crazy on the same day. I think that might be the best piece of advice I ever got in my life. I'm currently between wives, or I'm out of the wife business. I'm not sure which, but the last time I was between wives, I took the picture you see over my shoulder. It was a little bitty one out of my wallet and blew it up like you see and put it on the wall at the foot of the bed. And I didn't know why. It was the last thing I saw at night, first thing I saw every morning. That was me at about 4 years old. And I was looking at that one time and thought, who would he have become? Some things happened to that little boy should have never happened to any child. I went through step 4, and my sponsor included the prayer on page 552. And through receiving the gift of forgiving them, I became emotionally disconnected from everything they did. And step 9, through making the amends, I became emotionally disconnected from all the mistakes I made. But I'm looking at that picture one time and I thought, who would he have become if all those things had not happened to him? If he'd received all the nurturing, love, and guidance he clearly deserved, who would he have become? And I got my answer. The answer is, that's my assignment. It's my job to become the man he would have become. The only question is, am I willing to do the work? I serve a God of love who's stronger than all of that stuff. Am I willing to do the work? So far, I have been. Let me tell you about that little boy. He woke up every morning just excited to be alive, fascinated by simple things like sunrises and butterflies. He loved everyone. He was totally unconcerned with his future because he had full faith in those who provided for him. He was in touch with his emotions. He never used bad language. He laughed easily and frequently. He was open to learn. He judged no one. He was happy, joyous, and free, living each present moment as it came. That's what you've done with me. That's what you've done with me. This whole thing we do is about helping me evolve into who I have always really been. That's what it comes down to, becoming who I've always really been. We invited God, by the way, and I'm pretty sure he came. I don't know if I've ever packed more into 35 minutes than I did this time. And I think it's must have been a power beyond mine. I want to close with a reading from page 457. It's the last paragraph. From experience, I realized cannot go back and make a brand new start, but through AA, I can start from now and make a brand new end. If you borrowed my God and you got touched, borrow them again. If you invited yours, do it again. It's magic. I love you.